Hello, welcome to a new Retro Core. Due to the popularity of the last show where we covered arcade beat-em-ups that you may or may not have seen before, we're going to do something quite similar in today's show. Today we're going to take a look at arcade scrolling beat-em-ups that you may or may not have played before. Yeah, I know these days they're called belt scrollers for some reason, but I'm going to call them scrolling beat-em-ups because that's what they were called back in the day. So we're going to start off the show with a Korean game. And being a Korean game, it may not be very good, but then again it may be good because it's quite a new game. It's called Vamp, so let's take a look. Coming from the Korean developer Danby, who are notorious for poor quality PC games, comes this side-scrolling fighter, which, if I'm to be honest, is a million times better than the PC version it's based upon, but still complete rubbish. The thing is, this game has no feeling to it. Sure, the animation of the characters is kinda nice, but to have no interaction with the backgrounds just doesn't do much for me. The gameplay is stiff and there's not much to keep you interested. Even the power-ups that you can obtain do little to improve the game. Battle Circuit was developed and published by Capcom for the CPS2 arcade hardware in Japan and Europe. Taking place in an alternative future Earth, the game revolves around a group of bounty hunters who must capture the mad scientist Dr. Saturn and secure a sophisticated computer disk carrying a program known as Shiva System. As you can clearly see, the game features comic-like characters, which was pretty nice looking for the game released in 1997. The original arcade cabinet allowed up to 4 players simultaneously as well. Surprisingly, the game only makes use of 2 buttons, with the specials being pulled off by hitting jump and punch together. Do this with another player on the screen, mind you, and you can perform the Ultra Special. Throughout the game you'll see lots of money dropped on the floor, so you better make sure you pick it up, because unlike other games, it actually has a use in this game. At the end of each stage you get to visit a nice little shop to power up your character, but you need money to do it. This really poor looking game comes from the Korean company NYX. It's obviously an unlicensed Dragon Ball ripoff using sound effects from Capcom's Street Fighter and very poorly drawn graphics. In fact, you could say this rubbish features moves similar to Ninja Gaiden. Well, that's because it does. Under this mess you can see right now is the original Tecmo version of Ninja Gaiden. Yep, Dragon Ball is a really bad hack of Ninja Gaiden Arcade, also known as Dragon Warriors in some places. 2001, a company known as Prime Tech Investments, which is actually a real company that does investments, believe it or not, whether this game company has got anything to do with them or they just ripped off the name is another thing. Anyway, they published a game called Thunder Heroes, which is a glaring rip-off of Noise Factory's Gaia Crusaders. To make the characters look a little bit different, most of them have palette swaps, with their clothing changed. Most of the levels and enemies are also scrambled and palette swapped. Thunder Heroes is noticeably shorter than Gaia Crusaders and a lot easier too. New weapons are included in Thunder Heroes, such as lead pipes and energy swords, which function just like the swords in Gaia Crusaders. Other new weapons include knives and grenades, which are tossed immediately after use. Even though this is a rip-off, it's still incredibly fun to play, thanks to the combo system and faster action. Mug Smashers comes from a collaboration between Italian developer Electronic Devices and British developer 3D Games. The end result is a scrolling beat 'em up that kinda looks ugly, but in a way not too bad. It also plays kinda well too. There's not much in the way of combo moves, however the action is fast and fluid. The variety of characters also helps break up the game. So we had a couple of stinkers in the first part of the show there, especially this crap that's running behind me, Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball as they call it. Yep, completely ripping off Tecmo's game. Terrible. Even though they reskinned it, it still looks really bad. Anyway, yeah, it's difficult to find any information about the company that made that game, Nyx. Not surprising really. But we did have a couple of good games in the first part of the show. One game that really surprised me was Mug Smashers. Being an Italian and British game, I didn't expect much from it. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was quite playable and I did find myself enjoying it. So anyway, let's take a look at the second part of the show. We've got some more good games coming up and a few more stinkers. Yep, coming from Korea again. Tatsumi were responsible for some pretty impressive looking arcade games back in the day, such as Apache 3, TX1 and Boogie Boy. Most of their games were licensed out to Namco, Data East and even Atari, so the Tatsumi name is quite unknown. Big Fight was their last ever arcade game and sadly it's not their best. Every side scroller needs some sort of gimmick, so I'm happy to say Big Fight has one. In this game, the big addition is being able to control every boss character you beat. Yep, after completing a stage, it's possible to change your character to the boss you have just won in battle. Gameplay wise, there's nothing too special. You have the standard kick and punch, and 2 buttons special as well as being able to pick up objects. A nice enough game, but nothing that would stand out above the rest. Known as Guardian in the West, Dungeon Makai 2 is Winkysoft's best work in the arcades. What we have here is a very fast and busy scrolling beat-em-up with more special moves than your average one-on-one fighter. Winkysoft made mostly very good games, including the best Macross game ever, which was released for the Super Famicom. Sadly, it seems Winkysoft are no longer around, with their last game Super Robot Wars OG Saga being released on the PSP in 2002. This load of rubbish comes from the Korean developer DGRM, who as far as I can tell, only made this and two adult-style side pocket rip-off pool games. Sadly, this game has no sound, so I've dubbed over some music from another arcade game from the same time period. Black Touch is a Korean comic book series, so I'm guessing these characters are from that series. Being a Korean game, it's obvious they're going to rip off Japanese games. Can you tell what Japanese character the main player is under those new graphics? If you said Cody from Final Fight, then you're absolutely right. But actually, it's Cody mixed with some guy. Yep, there's even some guy animations in there. Even some of the enemy animations come from Final Fight, most noticeably the women when they get hit. They react just like Poison does. Gameplay wise, this game is also pretty bad. The controls are stiff and it features a jump that does absolutely nothing but go straight up. You can't jump kick, you can't jump punch, you can't move when jumping in a direction. Completely pointless. There's also a very odd special that when used the whole screen flashes with everyone running away. All in all, this is a terrible game, and even if it did have sound, it wouldn't make it any better. In fact, if it did have sound, we could probably find more things it ripped off. Alpha made many arcade games, and this is certainly not one of their good games. There are so many problems with gang wars. The first one to become apparent is the bloody laughing from the enemies as you're knocked down. This becomes very annoying before the first level has even been completed. Then there's the gameplay. It's just too slow to react to your button presses, meaning you'll be constantly knocked down, resulting in more of those annoying laughs. The collision section is also a problem. At times it's hard to hit your opponent, yet they'll be able to hit you just fine. Taiwanese developer PGM, who like to spam more remakes of their games than Capcom do, bring us Gladiator, or something different as the Chinese announcer amusingly shouts out. This is a typical PGM style fighter. Looks nice, but overall it's quite shallow. Most of the special moves are done by constantly hitting the punch button, and then they only work if you manage to keep hitting something. At first this looks and feels good, but it soon becomes apparent that this is all the game has to offer, and boredom will soon set in. So there we have it, 10 arcade scrolling beat-em-ups that you may or may not have seen before. Quite a few stinkers in there, but which one did you like the most? Personally, I thought Dengen Makai 2 was really good, a very big step up from the original, and one that quite surprised me, and in fact I hadn't actually played it until about 1 year ago. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the show, and don't forget to leave your comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, and see you in the next retro call, which hopefully will not be so long away.